So recently I did a video talking about how you can better prepare for the potential recession that may be coming from October, November 2022 onwards. And this again may be applicable for future situations that may occur. But in this video I want to talk about how as a contractor you can better prepare for this situation as well. It's not easy for contingent labor who are in fixed term roles or temporary positions thinking about where their next job is coming from, or whether they have the security that is required of them in order to support their family, pay their bills, etc., etc. Now, it's important to, foremost understand that there are many different seasons that occur. And you'll know this as a contractor if you've been in the game for a while, in terms of how many jobs are on the market and how easy it is to apply for different things. I mean, it is dependent on your skills. It's dependent upon what type of jobs are in the market, what niche you're in, the industries, etc., etc. So it's about taking all of this stuff into account. And you can really get a sense of this based on how many calls you get a day or a week, or how many emails you get, or if you get any responses back in terms of your applications. So all of these things come into play. The first thing I'll say is, number one, really understand what situation, position you're in. So as highlighted before, again, the seasons is very important to understand. If we're in a season of winter, let's say for example summer, then it may make sense to stay where you are currently right now. Potentially, if you know that you're in a market that's quite hot, then again, maybe it's an opportunity for you to find something else, using recruiting agencies to support you in this space. Okay. Now, if you don't have any roles, then I would urge you to continue to apply and try to expand your sort of horizons in terms of understanding where you can work. I understand as contractors, they can pigeonhole you at times, but again, don't give up. Just continue to apply. Understand it's both a quality game and a numbers game as well. The second thing I would say is it's important to make sure that you update your CV. Okay. Now there are CV writing services out there like Purple CV, but you can also do this yourself. And the best thing to do when you're developing or updating your CV is to make sure that you're clear about what your roles and responsibilities are, but two, what achievements you've had. Now, as a contractor, it's best to, and again, this is something that my friend told me the other day, and I do something very similar, is to write your experience as if they were projects or programs you're working on. So they're very clear about what it is that you're doing. And as you become more strategic, then the language changes as well in terms of how you present yourself. So think about redoing your CV. Is there anything that you need to get rid of? Is there anything that you need to focus on a bit more? Sometimes it's a good idea to really understand the methodology behind the sorts of roles that you're doing and use that sort of language. Okay. Again, also, if you're applying for specific niche roles, then again, use the language that they use on the specifications as well. So that's another thing. Maybe check out your CV. Again, this is transferable to your cover letter as well. And of course, with a cover letter, it's a bit more of a personal story. It's a bit more context, a bit more information. You're doing more of the selling there as well. The third thing is to make sure that you understand if your finances are in order. Okay, this is your personal finances. This is being extremely clear about what's coming in, what's going out, what you're spending your money on, and what you're not spending your money on, what you need to spend your money on. Okay, so I've spoken about Money Dashboard before in the past, and all these other sort of integration services that link up with your bank. Really study what it is and what sort of trends are popping out when it comes to your expenses. Because the compensation is different to what a standard employee will get, sometimes you can get carried away, and sometimes you think you can just pay for stuff, and sometimes you forget that actually tomorrow is not promised in terms of your contract. And so you need to have some sort of system in place. Now, I like to use Starling to help me be organized. So Money Dashboard is the analytical side of things that helps me make decisions, helps me understand my behaviors and all of those different things there. But Starling acts as a way to hold myself to account when it comes to these different sort of like saving mechanisms. So maybe I need to save for specific bills. Maybe I need to save for an emergency fund. Maybe I need to save for all of these different stuff. It helps me categorize those different pots. So if you haven't used Starling or something like Monzo, whatever it may be, try those things out. The next thing I'd say is save for an emergency fund. Okay. You have the luxury of, again, compensation being slightly different. And so with that in mind, you can accelerate your savings, whether you get paid weekly, monthly, whatever it may be, or quarterly, or based on performance. So put aside money for savings. Really, really important, because again, there may be a likelihood that your industry is affected by this recession, okay, that potentially may come. And therefore you need to ensure that you're protected. Okay, so this is why the analysis at the beginning is important, so you understand what your outgoings look like. So you know, okay, do I need to survive for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? What does that really look like? And again, you can't control outcomes, but you can do some stuff now. Now, on average, a recession lasts for about 11 months. So that gives you an idea. 12 months would be ideal, but most people don't have savings more than 8 to 18 days, I believe, in Europe. So it's it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. So you just need to understand where you're at and focus on developing a plan to help you save. Okay. The next thing I'd say is ensure that if you're outside of IR35, that you've got enough money to pay any sort of taxes or whatever it may be. Again, if you've got a good accountant, this will be in hand already. But just ensure that there's nothing missing and get them to double check that things are smooth in that department. So again, make sure you got savings for your taxes and everything else. They're not really savings. It's what is owed to the government. So just ensure you got mechanisms to put that money aside is what I'm saying. The next thing after that is possibly look into different courses that may help you stand out in terms of different industries. Okay, so there are definitely going to be organizations that are making more money, and there are going to be some organizations that aren't making as much. And as a contractor, because of how flexible you can move, there may be things that you may be able to do. So maybe they need someone to come in and, you know, help them with a transition. So possibly change management may be a good qualification to get. Maybe they need someone to help determine their facilitation for the project management. So maybe an agile qualification, or maybe some sort of other project management qualification. Maybe you just need quick skills. So something like Udemy may be helpful to give you some ideas. So just think about different ways you could potentially pivot into these different industries, because again, this may benefit you in terms of job opportunities as well. The other thing is, if you're a contractor, as stated before, and you have a business, possibly you may want to double down. Okay, maybe you want to double down in terms of investing into that business, because you can see that, okay, there is a deep need. There is a deep need to help a certain community within a certain space, and you may be the person who understands how to help those individuals as well. And so think about, how can you do this properly? Like, don't just waste your money, but think about how you can push this towards, again, developing a product, or possibly advertising, or maybe even mentorship. Maybe you need the guidance. Maybe you need accreditation for something in order for you to stand out within the market. Again, the different type of compensation helps you within this space. So think quite laterally in terms of opportunities. And then once you find something, then go vertically in terms of doubling down in that space, if it makes sense. If you're more conservative by nature and it makes sense to do this, then also think about how you can invest into the stock market as well, with a standard safe index fund or ETF that makes sense for you. Again, if you understand a specific industry, then go in. If you don't really understand the industry, then maybe you want something that's more spread out, where you know those companies, organizations, stocks do well in situations regardless over time, especially if you're utilizing dollar cost averaging as well. So hopefully all of this makes sense. I mean, the only other thing I'd say to you is it's important to make sure that you've got your mental on point. And sometimes we can feel like we're trapped, okay, especially in times of recession. We feel like we're trapped in the places or the clients that we're working for, and we feel like there's nothing else out there. It's so important to make sure you scour the market and get a good idea of what is out there. And that will give you a sense of numbers, because then it's a numbers game. So I'm curious to know, as an independent consultant, how else do you think you can prepare for this potential recession that's coming? Now, if you want to become an independent consultant or contractor within the UK, or you want to brush up on your understanding within this space, I've recently developed a course called the Independent Consultant UK, a guide for contractors. So if you're interested in understanding the theory behind it, the principles, the payment, my experiences, the little tricks here and there that may help you, then make sure that you click on the link below to find out more information and join the course, join the growing community that wants to become an independent consultant within the UK. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.